Good morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Enchanted Sisters, welcome here to day 3 of our Magic of the Moon Phases 3-part class here at the Sisters Enchanted. So, housekeeping stuff before we start. Remember, if you're watching this live, it says live on the screen. If it doesn't say live, then you're on the replay, which is totally cool. You can still leave questions and comments in that section, and we'll just get to you when we see them. I'm Sarah. I am the founder and head magic maker here at the Sisters Enchanted. And at the Sisters Enchanted, it is our mission to make magic mainstream and create communities so that Enchanted Sisters all over the world can come together and create their own magical lives. Hey everyone, hi Katrina and Helen, and is it Valda or Valda? Valda? I think it's Valda. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Hi Abby. So yeah, if you are new and just joined over the last like 24 hours or so, make sure you go to the announcements section, which is up towards the top of this group. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffy. It's up towards the top of this group, and there you will find the video for day 1 and day 2. You'll also find the participation threads where you can, for day 1, share with us your lunar intention for this cycle, and day 2, write it in a positive statement like we talked about yesterday. But if you're new here, you'll have to watch that video to know what I'm talking about. And this video will be added there as well, along with today's participation thread. And we're going to choose one person to win a free reading with the Sisters Enchanted from those threads. So you want to make sure you participate. Yes, Amanda, I know, I can't believe it. You guys, I have been doing this for 2 years here online now, and I have not once missed a scheduled chat, and I missed one this morning in our tarot group. I've had to reschedule, but I've never just flat out like missed one. And I missed one this morning. I'll tell you, this morning my daughter had this weird thing on her neck yesterday. Like it kind of looked like a rope mark, like a burn or something. And it was just this red thing. But you know, we have a little baby, so it makes sense. Maybe he pinched her. And we woke up this morning and it's like swollen and bigger. And then she's also having some pain going to the bathroom, and on top of that, my car is in the shop because it smells like mildew and we don't know why. They called me yesterday. They tore the whole interior out and it's still there today. So I have to take my kid to the doctor this afternoon. I don't have a car, and my husband has a pickup truck, so I guess I could throw her in there. My cat knocked my tripod. Anyway, that's the kind of morning I was having, Amanda, which is why I forgot. That's why I missed our chat. It looks like my candle went out, or I didn't light it. I think I meant to light it and then did not. This cat, so let me light the candle too. Now I'm crooked. So anyway, that's why I missed the chat this morning. Morning, Alicia and Bernie, Elizabeth. Not that that's, a great excuse, but that is my excuse why. It was a crazy morning. So anywho, we are going to light this candle because I thought I lit it, but obviously I did not. And then we're going to talk about day 3. We're going to talk about creating fun rituals around the lunar cycles. And we're also going to look at the nice Nick, our astrologer here. He, or one of them anyway, made us a printable about things to do at the different new moon lunar cycles. So let's put this guy up here. Ooh. All right, it's nice and steady. Okay, and I think my cat's done knocking around things. So, lunar cycles, or lunar rituals, things you can do. We are going to start with this. You can see I'm totally out of form today. This is a printable that was in your email, and thanks, Amanda. Yeah, today it's just one of those things. I'm like, of all days, my kids never get sick. Like literally, my daughter had, I think the flu earlier this year, but she didn't have to I never even had to take her to the doctor. She got over it. They rarely are ill. This will actually be her second sick visit to the doctor ever. She'll be 4 in July. And this is only the second time I've had to call and bring her in. The first time was for a bug bite that was nothing. So I don't even like to count that as a sick visit, right? Because it was for nothing. And So anyway, this time I think she really is sick though. There's something wrong with her. So, but go figure. She gets sick and I don't have a car because it smells like mold for no reason. Yeah, they said they literally tore everything apart. They tore the carpet out, all this stuff. So, you know, one of those days. All right, so this here, I know I tried to change my lights so it wasn't such a glare, but to no avail. This is in your email today. It's pretty easy. Some of you might have this from this previous class, or earlier last year we did a donation class where we donated money to the Houston Food Bank after Hurricane Harvey came through, and this was part of that too. So you might have it from there. And so basically what it is it's the lunar phases. So we've got our new moon here, the waxing crescent, first quarter, all the way to full and around again. So the first thing we're going to talk about is using this in different ways. And you can make your own, you can draw them, you don't have to print it out. If you don't have a printer, you can definitely like just draw these or collage them or make your whole own cool thing with images from the internet, like whatever, totally up to you. So Alicia says some kind of fungi growing in the air vents. It's something. It's actually like, it smells in the trunk of the car, but there's no water back there. Like it's never been wet. It smells like you left towels in the washing machine for a week and then forgot about them. That's what it smells like in my car. It's been like that for like a month and they can't figure it out. But yeah, that could be it. It smells more in the trunk. It's really weird. I'm telling you. But they called yesterday and they're like, can we just keep your car? Because it's in pieces and we're going to replace the carpet, but we're still trying to find why it happened to begin with. I was like, yes, no need to give it back to me smelling like that. It's like making us smell when we get out of it. It's disgusting. Anyway, so here are some clever ways you can use this tool or make your own to use. One of them is to use it as a crystal grid. So if there is like what you could do, I don't really have a good way. Let me do it this way. Okay. So what you could do is you could use it as a grid, and you could put something in the center of it. Like if you use crystals, or if not, you can take rocks from just your yard. You can paint them. You can write on them. You can write on pieces of paper. You can make like little, your own little like cardstock tokens with things on them if you want to. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but you can put something in the middle. For example, I have this big rose quartz. If I wanted to do like some self-love or love this lunar cycle, I could put some something in the middle to represent that. So I have a rose quartz, but you could just draw a heart. You could write an affirmation. You totally don't need to run out to the store and like stock up on crystals, that's for sure. And then you could do something like place crystals on each of the phases, or what you can do is use like a piece of, I don't know. I can't really see I can't see right behind me. I'm pretty sure this is smoky quartz, not clear quartz, but we'll pretend it's clear quartz. I think it's smoky quartz though. But you could put that on like the new moon, or like a clear quartz point. Yeah, it's definitely smoky quartz. But we're gonna pretend it's clear quartz here. I'm sure I'll get a comment later and be like, Sarah, why would you use smoky quartz? But we're pretending it's clear quartz. So you could put that at the new moon, and you could like focus your intentions on this love you're bringing in, right? And then as you move through the lunar cycle, spend some time at each of the phases doing this, and you're moving it as you go along. So that's one cool way to do a little ritual, and this gets you in the habit too of working with the different phases. So that can be in our busy world. I know, like my life in particular too, it's hard to remember to stop and take time for these things. So if you're doing something like this where you have to sit down and move it, or just take the time to move it, that can really give you an opportunity to stop what you're doing, stop, drop, and tune in to the lunar cycles, right? So that's one way you can use this. Like I said, you can also put different crystals around it. So something I do for love in particular, I'll usually alternate like clear quartz and black tourmaline or something, so that I'm having like the peace and the protecting from negative energies, and then I'm also, you know, like bringing in the extra with the clear quartz there. So you could do that and make your own little grid. But I like the idea of choosing one crystal to kind of move around through the phases. And that's one thing you can do. So Rebecca says, still learning what crystals to use for what. There's so many. There are, yeah. And you know what, though? You really don't. I mean, like I have all different kinds, but you don't you certainly don't need crystals. And there's actually like, you know, hot debate over us like overusing the earth for things like crystals and essential oils and stuff. And so I mean, do what feels good to you. You totally don't have to run out to the store, like I said, and buy all these crystals. You can certainly like use seashells and acorns and rocks. You know, I have acorns somewhere around here, and I've got an abundance of seashells. You can't see it, but right up here, there's a dish, and even if I showed you, you can't see it. I have to show you from the top, full of rocks from the ocean and seashells, because I live near the beach. And I have like some grapevines over here from my yard, and just cool stuff like that. So you can just use natural elements too. But if you want to get crystals, like rose quartz, amethyst, clear quartz, citrine, something green, like a green aventurine or something, that's pretty much going to cover your bases. And then you can bring in other things as you get to know them, for sure. Yeah, stop, drop, and tune in. Let's see here, different types of crystals and stones, and I just really go with whichever one would like to be with me for that day. Exactly. And that too. So there's the way we'll go on a little tangent of crystals here. So crystals, we have all of these different vibrations. So things vibrate at different levels. And this is like a science thing. You can test the vibration of stuff. So I'm no scientist. I was horrible at science in school. I was an English major. I minored in women's studies and sociology, psychology stuff. I'm not a scientist by any means. But that, you know, we can measure the vibrations of things and like energy fields and stuff like that. So the idea is that different crystals vibrate at different frequencies. So you would use different crystals to align your energy with that of the crystal. And that's where we get these ideas that you would use like a rose quartz if you're doing love work, because it vibrates like similarly to your heart chakra. And so that's where your love stuff comes from, right? Your self-love and unconditional love. And so that's how I would use that. So that's where we get these recommendations for crystals. But the thing to remember is, just like everything in the world, we are all different beings. So like if your heart chakra is vibrating, is like so open and accepting that it's like vibrating higher than normal, you might feel called to use a different crystal if you're working with love. So go with whatever you are called to, for sure, because unless you are one of these scientists that's walking around like measuring the vibrations of things so you can scientifically say, there's not really any way to say this is exactly what you need for this exact thing. Because, we are all different, and your environment where you live might be like even the different resonance, how close you are to an ocean or like above sea level, or like what kinds of things are in your environment. Like where I live on the east coast of the US, like the New England area, we have rocks upon rocks. Like our hiking trails are just these like, and not like nice looking rocks. They're like these gray with a lichen growing all over them rocks. And so that is going to vibrate differently than a person who is in like a wet forest kind of area, right? If that makes sense. So even where you are might impact how you work with crystals or anything like that. So go with what feels good to you. Let's see here. I'm just looking at the comments. Yeah. I mean, I know there's like tons of crystal schools and crystal classes and things like that. You can always check those things out too. But really, when it comes down to it, we work with them on vibrations, right? And so unless you're testing your vibration, you can't really know. But your body knows, your intuition knows. So go with what feels good to you. So hello there. Hey, Carter. Thanks for being here. And who is it? Bert's here 3 days in a row. Awesome. So that's one way to make some ritual around your lunar moon magic work, is to use this, which was in your email today, and turn it into a grid. You can put a crystal in the middle. You can just draw or write in the middle. You can collage in the middle, and you can make your own. You don't have to use this one. You can like grab a big piece of paper and do this huge. You can also write on it. So something you might do is over a lunar cycle. Let me put these down. If you want to grow something, you might write at the top, and I'm trying to make it so you can see. You might write at the top like your intention, and then write a phrase that goes with each phase as you move around the lunar cycle, and then stop and take time throughout the cycle to tune into those. So if it's like I make healthy food choices for my body, and then at the first or the waxing crescent moon, maybe I feel amazing when I make healthy choices for my body. At the first quarter moon, that's like an action time. So I feel so relieved to bring healthy foods into my house. Like that's an action item. And so you can go around and you can write out your intention in different ways too. And you can put it where you can see it and then spend some time with it. And you can even do that and do the crystal thing. So you can really make your lunar ritual, perfect for you. You can change it up. There's no right or wrong way. I think I mentioned this a couple days ago or sometime recently, but we talk about habits versus rituals. So a ritual is something you do with intention, and a habit is something you just do. And so like if you add creamer or cinnamon or honey or sugar or milk or something to your coffee every morning, and you just put it in there while you're like, I don't know, yelling at your kids to get dressed, or you're like checking the time because you're running late or something, like, oh no, it's another day. If you just do it, that's a habit. That's not a ritual. If you take your, I drink my coffee black, but I will add sometimes cinnamon, or sometimes I'll add a little honey actually in my coffee. But if I'm doing something like that, if you do that and you do it with intention, so you like tap into all of your senses, and you like if you dip, like if you use a spoon or a honey, one of those honeycomb things or whatever, those wooden things, whatever they're called, if you dip something in the honey and you feel it like go in there, and then you see it coming out, and you really make it a sensory experience, and then you put it into your coffee and you stir it with intention that you're stirring in sweetness and you're stirring in life-giving energy from all the hard work of the bees or something like that. That's intention. That's ritual. That's different than habit, right? So if I just like dip my spoon in, dip it in, stir it around while I'm yelling at people, that's a habit. And then taking the time to make it a sensory experience, be present, and put intention into it, that is ritual. So what we want to do over a lunar cycle as we start to work with the moon is try to bring ritual into it as much as possible. And the reason is because it makes us stop and think about it. That stop, drop, and tune in. It makes us do that. And take the time to actually work on bringing stuff into our life that we want. So many of us have these big, like, I'm going to manifest the man of my dreams. I'm going to manifest this job. I'm going to manifest a new house. But we don't vote, we're so torn with our energy. Our energy is like, it's literally, think of Spider-Man. Like every time we do anything, our energy is going out somewhere. It's attaching to this person you don't even know. It's attaching to like the tree that you walk by and think, oh, I need to like pick up those branches. Like all this stuff, our energy is going everywhere. And when we take a minute for ritual and bring our energy back in and focus it in one place, that's when we see progress in our lives. And that's what we want to do by working with the moon, is take some time to bring in ritual and doing something like this, like this simple piece of paper, and putting it somewhere where you can remember to do it, by your nightstand. If you work someplace where you have a desk or your own area, you can put it there. Even like on your break, you can have it right there. Anything like that. The idea is to come back to it. So Elizabeth says, I always kind of viewed using crystals, candles with spell work, kind of using reference pictures while drawing as a means of focusing your intention, such as you may need to use the picture to be reminded and learn how to draw it until you learn and understand it without it. Okay, need some water. I'm so stuffy. My throat is itchy now too. Not good. So I think, Elizabeth, what you're saying is, like you're focusing your intention when you're doing that to bring your thing into being. Do something, and that's like ritual. And yes, there are fragmented energy and thoughts, and we are all living in these fragmented energy and thought bubbles. We're not focusing on anything. Like even when we're trying to be present, we're probably on our cell phones scrolling something, or we're like thinking of all the stuff we have to do. So bringing ritual in stops us. The idea is that it stops us, right? And brings us back here. That's amazing that your kids are saying thanks to the bees for the honey. Perfect. And Amanda needs a bigger nightstand, right? I know my nightstand's a hot mess, but and mine's full of like baby stuff. Let's see, off subject, but whatever was in your car, maybe what making you guys sick? I thought about that, and my husband's not been feeling well lately, and he used to, when he was younger, suffered from asthma pretty bad, and like kind of like I don't know, as he matured, I guess it kind of like faded away, and he's not been feeling well for the last month, and it's his total tangent. My husband took our car in to get it looked at, and they like did a water test, sent him home, and put some like cleaner in the air vents and said it was fine, and to like make the smell go away, and he brought it home, and the next day I drove it, I was like, no, it stinks, and so I had to take it in there and get on my mom pedestal and say, I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and if you would put your kids in your car and drive with the windows up, then by all means you do that. But it's definitely not safe. And then the lady was like, oh, we'll see. And, you know, then I put my mean hat on, and then they tore the car apart. So, yeah, I know, I agree, Rebecca. I thought of that for sure. I was like, what is happening? Anywho, so ritual. So that's one thing you can do. I have some notes here so I don't forget. Yeah, so you can make your own. You can put this in like a picture frame, so you can write on the glass part, or like laminate it or something, or put it in just like a plastic sheet protector, and then you can write on it and reuse it if you want to do that, or you can just make your own for each lunar cycle. Totally cool. Some other things to note, think about when you're doing your lunar rituals, is if you want to take time daily or at the different phases. So I'm a person, like I said, that's, you know, always seems to have a lot going on. So for me, the different phases work best to commit to, because I don't always have time every day, or I do, but you know, I don't like the excuse when people say I don't have time for things. Like, we all have time. It's what we prioritize our time with. So, you know, every day sitting down might not be a priority for me at the moment. Doesn't mean I don't have time. I like to try and reframe that. So anyway, we have another Sarah tangent today for you. So you can sit down at every phase. You can sit down every day. You can do just like the 4 big phases, the new moon or the dark moon, the first quarter, the full moon in the third quarter, or just do all the phases and sit down and do your lunar ritual at each of the phases. I mean, it's really up to you what that would look like. But think about if you want to do this first thing in the morning, if you want to do it at night before you go to bed. Do you want to like set the scene for your day, or do you want to kind of release the day before you go to sleep at night? Different things going on. You could even do it different for the different moon phase. So if it's like the dark moon or the new moon, maybe you want to do some lunar rituals in the evening, because you're going to go to sleep, and that's that dark time is a really good time to work on dream work. So if you're working on strengthening your lucid dreaming or anything like that, then that might be a good time to do rituals at night. Around the full moon, you can certainly honor the full moon at night when we see the full moon. So that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like calling in your intentions. Maybe you want to do it in the morning, or just sit and take time every morning to read what your intention is or something, so that you're living your day through that intention. And then at night, do kind of like your honoring ritual if you want to do that. Let's see what Bert's asking me here. Can we create our own abundance spells, not following the norm, as long as the intention is there? Yeah, for sure. Create away. Everything's more powerful when you create it yourself, and it comes from what you need in your energy. Some other things you can do at the new moon or the dark moon, like I did mention, divination, ancestor work, anything that's like other realm connections sort of stuff can be really good to incorporate into your rituals at the new moon or the dark moon. At the full moon, I like doing, if you like fairy work or kind of mystical, magical, other realm beings, anything like dragons, fairies, mermaids, all those elementals, that can be really powerful to do at a full moon. Also lunar goddesses and gods, like anytime, of course, but a full moon, dancing, singing, like raising that vibration to meet that big glowing moon in the sky. Those are amazing things to incorporate into your full moon rituals. Let's see here. So Amanda's agreeing. Totally do what you want. Hi, Ashley. You have a good day too. What else do I have here? Oh, and at the new moon and the dark moon, that's also a good time to just be a little more quiet. So while at the full moon, in our full moon rituals, we might want to dance and have merriment and be kind of loud and maybe a little bit out there. At the new moon or the dark moon, that's when we really want to listen to ourselves, listen to other people, like kind of think about how we're communicating in our world and what kind of communication we're accepting in from other people, and really sit with that. Like, it's that quiet reflection time around the new moon when it's dark in the sky. And it can be really helpful at that time to not only listen to yourself, like try to listen to your guides if you speak to any guides. If you don't, that's totally cool. I'm not one that like works with tons of guides or anything like that, so don't feel like, you know, there's like, oh no, Sarah, I don't do that. You're totally fine. But you can sit and just say, okay, self, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling in my body? Am I feeling aches and pains anywhere? How am I feeling about the decisions I'm making right now? Like the path forward of my life, where is that making me feel a certain way when I think about it? That can be good stuff to do at the new moon or the dark moon. And then the full moon is when we want to like dance and be crazy. There were some threads in the group, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, is if like how you might feel at those moons. So for me, the new moon is like, I just am tired. That's right now. I'm so tired. I feel like I could sleep for a week. The new moon, it just drags me down. The full moon energizes me. For some people, it's the other way around. At the new moon, they're like, yeah, I want to do something. And at the full moon, they're like, meh, I'm gonna sit this one out. And that's totally cool. Do like I was saying before, we all are experiencing different things. Our environments are different, and there's all sorts of stuff happening around us that makes our experience different. So what I want you to do is take the stuff we learned from the last 2 days, day 1 and day 2, and then think about like what kind of lunar rituals might you want to incorporate into your life. Definitely, lunar tracking, which you had that paper on the first day, I think. This is our lunar tracker, our lunar cycle notebook. I can't remember. I can't even speak today. So I have this one that's printed out, and I work with it and I was just doing some of it today. I track the lunar phases in here. Another thing you can do is just draw a circle and do like a creative representation of what you want for this lunar cycle. It's a fun thing to do with kids too. Have them mark down like things they're looking forward to this lunar cycle, new things they might want to try, hard emotions they're experiencing that they might want to like get out of their system. That's a really cool new moon sort of ritual thing to incorporate. And then I also do some solar goal setting stuff and some divination practice. But that's what my kind of new moon ritual looks like. And then I use this to check in throughout the cycle of what's going on. And then, of course, I usually do something fun like this too. So I don't always use like the phases. Sometimes I'll just plop crystals down with 8 crystals around it to make it, like one for each of the phases. But so yeah, you can make your own, you can print it out, whatever you want to do. So let's see here. So I was so tired. If I did not have tons of things to do, I would sleep. I hear you. I feel like I could sleep for a month. Full and new moon both make me amped up, probably because I do ritual. Probably, yeah, right? Probably get that boost of energy from whatever goodness that you're doing, for sure. So yeah, take the first 2 days and then think about what you want to incorporate and what stuff that you love. Like if you're a person that loves a cup of tea, you might want to incorporate that into your lunar ritual. Maybe you love to get outside. Maybe you're a crystal person. Maybe you're an essential oils person. Maybe you're a tarot card person. Like what's your thing, and how do you want to incorporate that into your lunar ritual so that you're taking the time to connect to your body, your own phase of like where you're at in the cycle, what's going on around you, what's going on in the world, like the universe around us, and what we're trying to bring into our lives. Because as I said before, so many of us just bust through life every day doing the same old stuff. We have these big dreams for our lives, but if we don't take the time to focus our energy on those things, then they never come into being for us. So it's the working with lunar cycles. It's good for your own emotional and physical wellness because you learn a lot about that for yourself. But in terms of bringing stuff into being for your life, and people use the word manifesting all the time, which is, pretty much what it is, but I mean, really, you own the power to bring stuff in. And if you take the time to do these check-ins and say, this is where I want to be. Is my energy moving on this sidewalk? Like, am I on the right path in the airport? Or am I on that runway that's like moving fast and I'm going the wrong way? take the time during the lunar phases to align your energy where you want to go, and you're going to see progress that much faster. Let's see here. So Samantha, that would be perfect for my family, the children and I, to help through our current situation. Awesome. Yeah, give things a shot. So Melanie says, I feel extra sensitive at both new and full moon. In the last year or so, I've noticed it more and more. Yeah, so I would definitely keep making note of that, and then maybe think on why. Well, maybe you're just noticing it, right? Maybe it's coming up to you. I don't know if you mean that you're finally noticing it or that you're becoming more sensitive. But if it's that you're becoming more sensitive, think about just like those ages and stages in life, right, where we're headed. But working with the moon phases definitely has helped me in the last few years, because having young kids, that I haven't had any kind of like regulation in my hormones, I feel like, or anything like that. And I'm just kind of all over the board on any given day. So it helps me to check in and say, okay, Sarah, we're maybe seeing some patterns here, or when I'm feeling extra crazy, like, why am I so crazy? It helps me to see, well, because you are like scattered, you're all over the place, but that makes sense, you know, because of where you're at. And then I can tell with my son now, he just turned 1 last week. I could see that like my periods of emotions were becoming longer. So I'd have like 3 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 3 days off, instead of like on, off, on and off, on, off, on, kind of off, like all over the place. So I've been able to see like the changes happening, which has been helpful for me for sure. So I'm sipping my tea right when you said tea. Awesome. Yeah, I'm a tea drinker myself, also a coffee drinker, but I do like tea too. So yeah, lots of good stuff to be had with lunar rituals and work for sure. So that's it. So I challenge each of you to create your own little lunar ritual, and then that'll be our sharing thread for today, to share with us in those comments what your lunar ritual or what one lunar ritual is that you might want to incorporate into your life. Kelly, rocking a Sister's Enchanted mug. I don't have one here with me. I'm drinking water today. That's not typical of me. That is a sign. That's telling you what kind of day I'm having if I'm not drinking some kind of coffee or tea. And I'm like, I must stay hydrated because life is rough today. Yeah, we have these really cool mugs, and tea tastes better in a Sister's Enchanted mug, if you ask me. So Amanda says, some days I'm really focused and some days completely off the charts and nuts. Lunar tracking helps. Just try not to beat myself up on the crazy days, because I know another good one's around the corner, right? I hear ya. Yeah, for sure. You guys are not alone. We're all here together, which is what makes this group so great. So that's going to be our sharing thread when I'll post that just when I get off of here. And you can let me know one lunar ritual that you're going to incorporate or that you're going to work on incorporating. It doesn't have to be big. It can be, small baby steps if you've never done it before. All totally, totally good. So that's it. We are doing another free class on Saturday. It's going to be working with lunar cycles throughout history. So like kind of the history of this, because what's really interesting is there's this rise in people, like we're all here now, right? Women gathering in circles, and doing lunar work. And where does that come from? That is always my question. Why are we doing this and where does it come from? And how does it look across cultures? And so we're going to talk about that in the class on Saturday. That's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern time right here. It'll be in this group and also on our Facebook page. And then next Wednesday, we're going to do at 9 a.m. Eastern time, creating a lunar home. So what I mean by that is bringing your family, your friends and family in. So this one's going to be really good in particular if you do have children of any ages, or if you don't live alone. If you do live alone, it's still helpful because you never know when you won't live alone. Sometimes I think back on like when I did live alone, and I'm just like, the memories of getting up on a Saturday and just drinking my coffee by myself. The memories. But I guess, it's all good things having my lovely children now and my husband, but the memories. So anyway, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern time is going to be creating a lunar home. So we're going to talk about incorporating like your whole family and making it kind of part of your life, not like not just a separate thing that you kind of remember to do sometimes. So that's gonna be on Wednesday. Aaron, me too. I miss living alone. Yeah, I mean, I like sometimes I feel bad saying that, and especially because some people, you know, are like, I know people's like, I have a great life, you know, I shouldn't complain about it. I'm not meaning to complain, but you gotta admit those days when you lived alone and you could just get up and just do what you wanted. Like, I just fondly remember turning on the music and like sweeping and having some coffee and, you know, I don't know, like going for a leisurely walk. And now I wake up and I'm just like, gotta change the diaper, I gotta make the breakfast. We need more coffee. All this stuff. I look back on those and think, oh, it was so good. Melanie lives alone, my cat, and I love it. Do hope one day I meet the right man, though. Yeah, I lived alone, and I'll tell you guys a little about me real quick, and then we'll go. But I lived alone by myself, and I got one cat, Peter. And when he was only 5 weeks old. I got him early. He was so small. I sat in my hand. And I was single and I lived by myself and got my cat, and he caused so much trouble. He still causes trouble. He was getting into things, jumping in things. I had to put baby locks on my cabinets because he was trying to get in the kitchen cabinets. And so he was born at the house where my sister was living, and I asked, do you still have any cats left from that litter? Because he needs a friend. He's too much trouble. He would put his paw in my candles, knock my water cups over. And so she had the other cat, Chloe, which is, we call Bear Cat here in our community. And so I was like, okay, I'll take Chloe. So Chloe came to live with us. So it was just me. Then it was me and Peter. Then me, Peter, and Chloe. And then Anna, who's my younger sister, was in this relationship that I was like, you shouldn't be with this guy. And she was, I don't even know if she was 21 yet. She was young. And I would like encourage her to come live with me. So then she came to live with me, all in my one bedroom. I had a 1-bedroom, small apartment. So then it was me, Peter, Chloe, and my sister. And then my sister adopted this old 17-year-old cat that somebody was going to put down. And that cat came to live with us and ended up being diabetic and peed everywhere. And then I had to give the cat insulin shots twice a day for 4 years. And all I did was rent this apartment by myself. And in a span of like 10 months, this is what came into my house. So it was some of my fondest memories. We lived in this really old house here in Connecticut. It's from the late 1800s. So my favorite memories are living in that house. But it's just funny to think back, like how quickly I went from just me to me, my sister, and 3 cats, one of which required lots of attention. So Amanda's never been alone. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So good. Samantha is exhausted. Love my kids, but my mind hurts. Yes, my mind hurts. I hear you. Yeah, it was a fun time, Sarah. It was probably the most fun time of my life in living in that house with Anna and our 3 cats. It was the most fun I had in my adult life, was living there. But one day my kids will be bigger and I'll have more fun again. Anywho, so I will post for your lunar rituals. Let me know what they are. You guys can think about me chasing around an old cat for insulin shots twice a day. Those were good, fun times also. And that's it. We've got the next 2 classes, Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We do have our Moon Magic class starting up in a week. So if you want to join us in that, the info was in your email, and we'll post about that too. I know some of you are already in there with us, which is awesome. And some of you were in there with us in previous rounds and joining us again. So that class, like I said, that starts in a week if you want to sign up for that. And that was in your email. And you'll hear more about that too, I'm sure, over the next week. So Kelly, living alone was the best. Do what you want when you want, and I could burn all the candles in sage with no strange faces, right? Yeah, I really enjoyed living alone, and I enjoyed living with my sister too, and our crazy cats. But I do like when I first lived alone, it was just me, and it was so quiet. That was good times. Think back on that when I need survival. Anywho, all right, you guys, I'm totally digressing. So check out your email if you want to know more about our Moon Magic class, which starts in a week. And otherwise, I will see you Saturday at 4 p.m. here in the group and on our page for our class on lunar practices throughout history. And then Wednesday morning for our Creating a Lunar Home class, both free in here in Facebook. And that's it. And I'll post a thread right now, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to incorporate in your rituals, and we will pick a winner to receive a free reading from us too. All right, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and do something fun to make it feel extra enchanted. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.